Good morning. Buenos dias. Welcome to SOC's Vote-a-thon for the spring primary election. Before we get started, give me a second to welcome our Spanish-speaking neighbors and call attention to our interpretation line. The number for that line is 646-749-3122. We'll get that on the screen shortly, and it's in the comments. The access code, once people call in, is 779-328-221. And you can see that on the screen and in the comments. Buenos días para nuestros vecinos de habla español. Si quieren acceso al programa en español, por favor marquen el número 646-749-3122. Y Miranda está ahí para interpretar el programa de hoy. Cuando le contestan su llamada, por favor, comparten el código que aparece en la pantalla. El número para llamar y el código están ahí y en los comentarios. Y ese código es 779-328-221. Otra vez pueden tener acceso al programa en español en el número, marquen el número que aparece en la pantalla y compartan el código. We're so glad to be back with you. It's been a while. If you remember, we were on the air with you every day, every weekday during the pandemic for about a year and a half, a year and 3/4. And then we went to monthly and then to weekly. And now we do it as we have programs. And so here we are with you. So welcome to our neighbors, our followers. And we're hoping that some of our super fans, previous super fans, have heard that we're back and are going to be with us today. I am Tammy Rivera, and I am the executive director and lead organizer. I have the honor of serving you here at Southside Organizing Center. Today, folks, is the spring primary election. This is where we make some decisions about who we want to see go forward to the general election. So this is the precursor, the beginning of the process. The work that we share here is nonpartisan. That means we do not promote any political party or any specific candidate. We just want to make sure that you have the critical voting information that you need and to keep you connected on this day. We've been phone calling and meeting people and sending out social media for 33 years, and we want to continue to make sure that you can share your voice and your vote. So if you're with us today, will you say hello? We can't tell who's with us unless you leave a comment. So if you could just give us a shout out, say hello, buenos dias on the comments, we'd really appreciate it. And then if you've already voted, will you let us know what number voter you were at your site? That gets us really excited, and it gets your other neighbors excited as well. And if you post anything on Facebook, if you tag us in it, tag SOC, and use the hashtag Southside Votes, hashtag Southside Votes. In Spanish, La Zona Sur Vota, you'll be entered into a drawing for a $25 gift card. One of you is going to win for doing that today. I want you to feel very welcome to ask any questions that you have. Nothing is too silly because voting can sometimes seem confusing to some folks, especially if it's your first time. So we want you to take advantage that we're here with you today and ask any questions or get any help that you need. Let me share just a little bit about SOC before we get going. It is our 33rd anniversary this year. And I feel very honored to be here at SOC serving you during this year especially. We are the longest serving grassroots organizing institution on the South Side. That means so many years ago, neighbors got together to address their needs and dreams, and we're still doing that today. We're very proud to do that. Let me just share what our mission is. We want to make sure that all of the neighborhoods on the South Side, um, are strong. And so it is our mission to be in relationship with you all. So we want to work with you. That's grassroots organizing, and for you, doing advocacy, having to take your voice forward when you can't be present or you're still practicing voice. And we want to make sure that we're creating a safe, a livable, and an economically vibrant community, which is the place where all our program staff lives, including myself, born and raised here, and live on the South Layton Boulevard for the last 30 some years with my sons. And we want to make sure that, your voice is heard, that you get a vote in what happens in your communities, and that you have a vehicle to work together to make a positive impact on the things that are important to you. I see here that we have a very beloved and honored and respected elder, a mother in our community, who I'm super grateful for. Buenos dias, Esperanza Gutierrez. Thank you for being with us. And she voted early. Bravo. That's a great thing to share. And it's a very encouraging activity, folks, for the regular election. If you can vote early or you can vote by mail, it makes life a lot easier for you. I know some people feel romantic about going on the actual day on voting, and we want to support that too. But for those folks who would like to vote early, you can do that by mail. That's super easy. And you can vote early physically as well, in case you're worried about not having the time the day of, or that the car won't start, or that the kids get off to school late, etc. So thank you. I want to make sure that you know what's going to be going on today. So for the spring election, we do a vote-a-thon. For the regular elections, all the elections, we do a vote-a-thon. But the primaries, we're here for breakfast, lunch, and dinner to serve you some voting information. So we're here at 8. We're going to be back at 12, and then we're going to be back at 6. We have a bunch of incentives to honor you for your time and energy today and get you excited about some things, and we'll be sharing that. And those drawings are for people who live in our district. So let me share what those boundaries are. For those of you who are allies, thank you for being with us. Spread the word. And you can be a great ally by helping the South Side be stronger. Here go our boundaries. On the north, it's Pierce Street. On the south, it's Oklahoma Avenue. On the east, it's First Street. And on the west, it's 43rd Street, or what's now called Brewers Boulevard. If you remember, it used to be Miller Parkway. We're going to be sharing with you voting updates. We have some interviews of key players in the election that we want you to hear about. We'll have Jonathan Zuniga from the Milwaukee Election Commission. Later today, we'll have Eloisa Gomez from the League of Women Voters. And then we're going to promote some of our other democracy partners as well. We want you to partner with us. So here goes the first promo. And when we have promos, SAC promos, you'll be able to participate. And if you participate and live in our district, you're going to enter drawings for gift cards. And so stay with us. We want you to be able to engage with the work that we do. And also we want to reward you when we get funders who give us a little money for incentives. So today what we'd like you to do is help us understand what is really important to you now that the pandemic is over, right? So we do surveys, we talk to you at your door, at events, etc. But for the next couple of years, we want to make sure that we're investing our energy in the things that are important to you. So we have a post-pandemic survey. If you would be so kind to fill that out. It'll help us understand what your priorities are and how we should be spending our time and energy. So I'm going to ask Stacy, shout out to Stacy who's doing production today, if she can share that link and that video about the post-pandemic survey. It's going to take throughout today. We're going to have opportunities for you to engage with us. And so let me review the order. We're going to be sharing an opportunity and then interviewing a guest that is going to bring critical information and resources about the election today for you. And so it'll go an opportunity, an interview, opportunity, interview, opportunity, interview 4 times. And so the first one, and all of those opportunities are either surveys or invitations to register for an opportunity to get you engaged with the work that we do for you. And every opportunity that you engage in is going to enter you into a drawing for a $50 gift card. And that's only good today. So any surveys or registrations have to be completed today, Tuesday, November 8th. And then we'll do the drawing live on Facebook for each of those tomorrow. So we want to make sure that you dig in and get them in before midnight tonight. You're going, when I share the opportunity and explain it, you're going to see a slide that will show you a link and a QR code. We're also going to put the link and QR code in the comments. And so if you click on the link, it'll take you directly to the survey or the registration. And if you want to use the QR code, you take your camera and you place it over the QR code, and then it pops up. The QR code is a little square with a bunch of symbols, designs in it. And if you wait, it'll pop up a link, and like a button, a yellow button with a link. And if you press that, it takes you to the survey as well. So those are all different kinds of ways that you can fill those out. Sometimes you want to take a picture of the QR code because you can't do the survey right away. And you want to save it for later. So your options on however is most comfortable for you. So our first survey, we're embarking right now, we're starting on developing SOC's plan for the next couple of years. But it's super important that you let us know what's important to you, especially after the pandemic. We all know the pandemic made us really think hard about what's important to us and how we want to live. And so we don't want to assume life is the same as it was before the pandemic. And so we want to check in with you now on what are your top dreams? What are you and your family's top needs? We have a series of different community areas of action and service, and you'll be ranking those like, this is somewhat important to me, not important to me, important to me, or very important to me. And really, that's going to guide where SOC puts its energy for the next couple of years for our neighbors who live with us on the South Side. So we invite you to fill out that survey. None of the surveys or registrations are long. They take less than 5 minutes. And so it shouldn't take a big sacrifice of time, but it does have a big impact. And so the post-pandemic survey, we'll put the slide up now. You'll see the link and you can start the survey now, or you can save the link and do it a little later. You'll see the QR code. And like I said, you can use that or save that to do that a little later. So we appreciate you in advance. We honor your time. That's why we're doing the drawing. And imagine if you did all the surveys today, you'd be entered into the first 4. So that's up to $200 opportunity to win. And it's right before the holiday, folks. So I know you could use some extra money. And then the last one is to like us on our social media platforms, and you can win a drawing for $25 for each of those. So please cooperate, and we want to be able to serve you as you see fit. Thank you. Thank you, Stacy. And if you're wondering, folks, that was a pre-record. I didn't straighten my hair and then curl my hair and then straighten my hair for the forum. You can let me know which look you like the best, though. I'm curious to know. All right. So we're recycling and we're using our videos. And thank you, Stacy, for doing that. And I want to give a shout out now to Jeanette, who put our script together. It was a collaborative effort and they killed it, the staff team. We have a wonderful staff team here who loves you and works hard for you. So thank you, Jeanette, for putting the script together. Here's some real quick voting information for you. The polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. It shouldn't take you more than 15 minutes to vote. Unfortunately, we have a very low turnout rate, but we're going to change that together. If you're in line by 8, it by law, they must allow you to vote. And if you have any problems voting today, if anybody is obstructing your voting or the process is obstructing your voting, you can call the ACLU voter hotline to report that and get support. For English speakers, that's 1-866-OUR-VOTE, 1-866-OUR-VOTE. And for Spanish speakers, it's 1-888-VE-VOTA, 1-888-VE-VOTA. You can also call here the Election Commission for Asian or multilingual assistance. Estoy ciega. I can barely see, folks, so I'm going to try this. Same number, 1-866-OUR-VOTE. So you can call that number for any language. And our vote translates into 687-8683, folks. Is that what's there? All right. And I gave you the Spanish one. And you can also contact the Milwaukee Election Commission, 414-286-3491. All right, I'm going to show you a great resource now for voting day. It's the central website for Wisconsin. It's called myvote.wisconsin.gov. I'm going to try to share my screen so I can walk you through how you can find all the information you need about voting, okay? So bear with us. And you can follow us too if you want to. Stacy put up the link again, www.myvote.wisconsin.gov. For our Spanish speakers, you can go there and have it and click on the Spanish version and get it in Spanish as well. All right, so I'm going to try this, folks. Let me share my screen. And you'll have to okay. Let me know when you can see it. Somebody give me a yell here at the office. Okay, great. So here's the website. This is the place you need, again, for all your information. So right here, you can go into My Voter Information. You can put your name, first and last name, and your date of birth, and it gives you all the information you need to know. It tells you all the elections you voted in, whether you're registered, and here's where you can update your contact information. You can request an absentee ballot if the next election you would like to mail it in. You can find, you can track that absentee ballot as well. And you can find who your elected officials are. Now, obviously, I'm not going to share my personal information to demonstrate to you this tab, but that's what's available for you. The other thing that's super important is where your polling place is. Of some of our South Side, I'm going to put SOC's address in there while I speak. Some of our South Side voting places change after the census, because if you remember, part of the purpose of the census is to find out where everyone lives and to change, and if there's a need to change some districts, and indeed, some districts change. So if you want to find out where your polling place is, you put in your address, your city, and your zip here, and it'll tell you where your voting place is, the hours, it'll give you directions. You can see what's on the next ballot. You can find your next location for the next election. And you can vote. You can find out more information about absentee voting. So every tab gives you like access to all the information all over. So here we go. Trying to go back to my old neighborhood, I guess, even though it was 3rd Street, not 2nd. We're on 1300 South Layton Boulevard. Our offices are still not open to the public yet. We hope to be open soon, but you can contact us in all the other ways that you have, by phone, by email, and social media. You can make an appointment and we'll meet you in the community as well. Okay, so if SOC were voting, we would be voting at Durfler School, and this is what will appear. It'll tell you where your voting location is. It'll tell you the address and the polling times. It'll tell you what's on the ballot. So as we know, a critical election this April is Supreme Court Justice. That's the top authority in our state. And then, of course, we have our U.S. Supreme Court. So that's going to be really important. I'm not going to go through that now because that'll be in a different segment, but it'll tell you where you go to vote and what's on your ballot. All right. There's a tab for just what's on my ballot, but you saw that, right? If I go here, it just brings that back up. There's a place where you can update your contact information. I can't do that because, of course, it wouldn't be wise to share personal information. And you can go here to see, are you registered, in case you forgot. And then when the Election Commission representative gets on, Jonathan, he can share more details about registration, etc. It tells you you can request an absentee ballot, so you can register by mail, as I mentioned before. You can track where your ballot is. Has it been requested? Was it sent? Was your ballot returned, the one you submitted, received? Was there a problem with the ballot? Etc. And then you can vote absentee, you can track your ballot, all those kinds of things I just said. So really easy to use, and you can see this in other languages as well. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we're going to make sure that we put that website. Yep, it's in the comments, so you can access it there. All right, let me talk to you a little bit about the Supreme Court race. Let's see if anybody else is here with us. We said good morning to one of our elders and beloved mothers of the community, Esperanza. Former staff member Carlos Schmidt is with us. He says, gracias, SAC, por todo el buen trabajo que hacen en nuestro hermoso vecindario de Southside y en todo de Milwaukee. Thank you for saying hi, Carlos. Carlos, we miss you. When Carlos was with us, he led our data and canvassing coordinating, and we wish he was back in Milwaukee to still do that. And we stay in contact with him, so it's good to see you, even if it's virtual, brother. All right, let's talk about the Supreme Court race. When there's any debates legislatively or legally, and it has to go to the end point, the final say goes to the Supreme Court, so it's a big decision. They serve for a decade, 10 years. Their decisions impact all of us, our children, the future of our children. And it's super important that if you vote any day, like this is the longest serving position that we vote for. Like there's no other position that you have to wait every 10 years to get voted in. So this is a critical one. You don't want to miss it. Also, just to let you know that there's a proposed 3 referendums. That means getting your opinion from the state legislators want our opinion on some things. I'm not going to talk about that today because they're all in big fights, which some of it's probably going to end up in courts, etc. So I'm not going to take time to do that. I see also the founding president of our staff alumni and former staffer, Clarissa, is with us today. Shout out to Clary. She still comes in and does stuff for us, even though she's moved on and she's passed her baton on here to her daughter, Jeanette, who's our youth coordinator and just a great team member all around anyway. Hola, Clary. Thank you for being with us. All right, let's get ready for our next promotion, which is we want to make sure everybody on the South Side is represented in all the work that goes on. And so we are recruiting a leader, a representative from each block. We want to see an adult and a youth. So we're going to go ahead and roll that promotion. And this is another opportunity that if you sign up and you live in our district, you can enter a drawing. So go ahead and Stacy and share that with us. All right, folks, we're ready for our second opportunity for you to engage with us. You earlier, if you were with us earlier, you heard about our survey regarding the post-pandemic survey, asking you what your dreams and needs are as we set our plans for the next couple of years. And if you're just joining us now, you can go back in the comments for the forum and you should be able to see the link and the QR code for that. If not, I'm also going to ask the folks who are on comments to put the post-pandemic title in the comment, post-pandemic survey, put the link for the post-pandemic survey and the QR code again while we move on to the next opportunity. We, like many of you, were not able to celebrate milestones during the pandemic. And during the pandemic, SOC turned 30. 30 years of service during the pandemic. And now it's been a couple of years. So we're ending our 30 plus 2 more years, our 32nd anniversary. SOC happens to be the longest serving grassroots organizing institute on the South Side. And we're very proud of that legacy. But we feel the responsibility to continue our mission even more in these times. And so because we weren't able to celebrate, we launched a campaign this year to celebrate our anniversary with an engagement opportunity. So the campaign is called 30+2 with you. And what we're doing is recruiting block ambassadors. The block ambassadors are going to make sure that the people just on their block know of information, resources, and action opportunities by going door to door and distributing materials when there are big things happening or a new housing resource comes out, when we have our major events, when we do cleanups. And so if you're willing to be an ambassador for your block and just give out information to your neighbors, leaving it at their door, and also if you're willing to just listen to and pay attention to what your neighbors are needing. For instance, they might say, we always have problems with the city not cleaning our street, or we don't get our recycling picked up on time, or we're concerned about the crime in this area, or we heard there's a promotion to get, cameras, Ring cameras, etc. Then the ambassador communicates that on behalf of their neighbors to SOC, and we can all work together to address our dreams and our needs. And so we have a registration, and you'll see a link to the registration and a QR code. And again, I'll be repeating this all day because I know I had troubles the first time I learned how to use a QR code. It's a little square that has all kinds of little black and white designs on it. And if you pull up your camera to it, it'll pop up like a yellow button, a link, and you can click on it and it takes you to wherever the address of that link is. So you'll be able to fill out the registration there. And I want to remind you that we have 4 of these opportunities throughout the day, and it has to be completed today. And if you complete it today, you'll be entered to win a $50 gift card. And you have 4 opportunities to do that today, which is $200. And then at the end of the forum, you'll be asked to engage with us on social media. And we are doing drawings for a $25 gift card if you do those things later today. And so Altogether, it's $275 of gift cards we're giving out today. And I'm sure you would really appreciate a little help for life today or some holiday spending monies. So please do fill that out and we'll be in contact with you. The 30 plus 2NU has also benefits. Any major event or activity we do, those people who've been faithfully serving as ambassadors will be able to attend many of our events for free. And so we'll be meeting once a quarter in person. We'll be meeting monthly, virtually. And then we have our conference and our Legacy Retro Ball, and you'll get free entrance into that if you were faithful with your ambassador role. So it's a give and get situation we invite you to join us in. So that slide is going to come up, and please do that right away. None of our engagement opportunities take more than 5 minutes today. So you can do that immediately, or you can save those things and make sure you get them in by midnight today. Thanks again, folks. Thank you, Stacy, for sharing that. As I said earlier, I am not straightening and curling my hair and doing wardrobe changes. We're recycling videos that we did right before last fall election. Also, weren't my candy corn nails cute? Just saying. I got plain red nails now, pero. Anyway, let's move on to the next piece. We have a special guest with us who also happened to be employed with us. He was a volunteer for a period of time, and then he came and worked for us for a couple of weeks between school and grown-up jobs. And now he works for the Milwaukee Election Commission. So will you help me join Jonathan Zuniga, or welcome Jonathan Zuniga. Hola, Jonathan.
Hola, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Tammy.
Mira, we're so grateful you're with us because we know you're on paternity leave. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What did you have?
A baby girl.
Qué chulería.
Thank God. Healthy. Mom is healthy too, so really happy.
So now it's two?
Two. A boy and a girl now.
Happy for you and happy that you're with us and you're being gracious during your time off. Jonathan, there's so much to talk about that's new for folks. The Supreme Court race. But also, I don't know if you have any information on the County Supervisor District 14.
Yes,
because there's some confusion around that, or people don't understand what's happening. Those are two things we want to share about, and then I want to welcome you to share all kinds of things that you've done in the past. Help people understand what can and can't happen now for voting, because if they ordered absentee ballots and didn't send them in, and if they're registered or not registered. Like that's an important piece. What their rights are, but let's start about those elections, and then we'll talk some of the logistics about voting. So let's talk about the Supreme Court race. Help people understand what happens now and then in the fall.
Yes. So polls are open now until 8 p.m. And on your ballot citywide, you will have a office for state Supreme Court. So there are some districts on the north side that will have special aldermanic districts, but on the south side you'll see state Supreme Court. We have 4 candidates on the ballot. So what happens right now during the primary is that you are voting for the top 2 to go to the spring election. So the top 2 candidates after this election get to go to the spring election on April 4th. So mark your calendars now. April 4th is the spring election. So we have 4 candidates for that. And then we have, or you mentioned, the special race for county supervisor. That's not going to be on your ballot on this election, okay? So it's going to come up later on in the spring, right before summer, around May. So we'll be giving out those dates specifically on it. So don't worry if it's not on your ballot, it will be eventually. So not today, but you will see it, and we'll send notices to all residents that get impacted by that county supervisor. So today, you worry about state Supreme Court.
And then regarding the County Supervisor 14 district, the person who got elected, Yango Zerpa, resigned. So that position became available. And then what had to happen is the county board and the county board of supervisors and the executive had to tell people what they were going to do now that that person resigned. So as I understand it, and as the county board website says, um, they're going to go ahead and fill that vacancy, and then that person fills the remainder of the incumbent's role, right? So it'll go from now to April 14th of
That's
2024,
that's
right?
correct. That's correct. So yeah, the person who wins this special election for county supervisor will serve until 2024.
Great. And then the candidates, anybody who was interested could begin collecting nominations since Valentine's Day, February 14th, right? And then the deadline for those signatures is Tuesday, February 28th at 5 p.m., right?
I am not correct. I am not sure about those dates.
That's what the website says for now.
And those dates are so that whole process will go through the Milwaukee County Election Commission.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I
Thank
don't
you for
have the dates.
clarifying.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, we're at the city county. They're running that process for candidates to get on the ballot. And I've been out for this couple weeks, so that's why I don't have the exact dates right now. But yes, any questions should be directed. Any questions about that race of the county election commission should be direct of the county supervisor should be elected to the county election commission.
Yeah, great. And I'm just sharing what's on their website now, so you all can go to county.milwaukee.gov. And then it has in English county exec news press release. And that's what I'm sharing. So they did a press release on the 1st of February. And then they just want to make sure that they're complying, with all the rules about 72 hours notice before, a ballot can be cast. So et cetera, et cetera. That's where you can find the details. They're saying as of now that the primary election will coincide with the spring election. So when we're doing the regular spring election, that's when that primary will happen. And right now, the election will be held May 2nd in order to comply with all those rules.
Yeah. So
So
what's going to happen then is that we're going to have a primary on the ballot just for that district on April 4th.
Yeah, perfect. Just to help people, because it gets so confusing. And folks, when people are confused, they tend not to move, but we encourage you, like, representation is so important. So far, we're aware of 2 candidates that are running that made it public. The first candidate, I'm doing alphabetical order, is Caroline Gomez Thomas. And the second candidate so far announcing both of these is Travis Hope. So far, that's what we know. They have to collect signatures in order to be able to move forward. And so let's talk about a couple of points about the Supreme Court race before we move on to some voting logistics. Like I said, they're the last legal word in Wisconsin. The second thing is that there are 4 candidates. And then, like Jonathan said, of those 4 candidates, and we saw that on Me Vote, .wisconsin.gov, we'll be voting 2 people to go forward. So of the 4, that list gets shrunk to 2, and then those 2 go forward. And then we're going to share a link. If you want more information about the candidates, we have a link for the JS Online article and little video they did, an article about that race more in detail and about the candidates. We can't share that here. It takes too long, but just to give you all a resource. So you'll be finding that in our, there it goes, in our comments if you want to know more about the race. And then I see that Miranda checked in to say felicidades, Jonathan Zuniga. And Miranda's our interpreter. All right, Jonathan, let's dig in. What do you think people need to know? Like, what if people, and this has happened to me before, I ordered an absentee ballot but didn't use it. So what's in play and what's not in play with that?
Yep. So in that scenario, you requested an absentee ballot, you have it with you, you have the ballot, the envelope. right? And you didn't return it for whatever reason. Well, today you get a chance to go to your polling place and vote. If you do not return that absentee ballot, you can go to your designated polling place and vote as you usually do. If for some reason you have, you are unable physically and have need for accessibility, you can have someone else drop off your ballot and you're inside your envelope. You sign it, you have your witness sign, and go ahead and drop it off at Central Count, which is 1901 South Kinnickinnick. That's if, right, you have some kind of physical disability that you are unable to go to the polling place and you need assistance. The Voting Rights Act protects you, and you are allowed then to have assistance from someone else that you designate to drop off that ballot for you at Central Count today at 8 p.m. We must have that ballot in our hands by 8 p.m. It can't be postmarked. It has to be in our hands by 8 p.m. According to Wisconsin law. So then, but again, if you are good, right, you just forgot to return it, you are healthy, and right, you can just go to your designated polling place and vote as regularly. Now, so if you are registered already, you voted in November, you haven't moved, you haven't changed your name, then just take your photo ID, go to the same polling place that you voted in November, and vote. So you just need that photo ID with you. Okay. So that's in regards to absentee ballots. Do you think any other questions regarding
Um,
absentee?
you were clear on they can register today, and what kind of documentation do they need to take?
Yep. So let's say you recently moved, or you changed your name. So then you can still register at your polling place. So let's say you change address. Go to myvote.wi.gov, the website that Tammy showed you, and look up your polling place for your new address. Okay. So if you have lived there for 28 days, you can register there now. So you can go to check out My Vote, look up your polling place, go to that polling place, and register there. So what do you need for registration? If you have your photo ID, your Wisconsin driver's license or ID, that it's current and you changed it and now you have your new address on there and everything, you can take that and that serves as your photo ID and proof of residence. But let's say you just moved right in January and January 1st, and you have your photo ID, but it has the old address, right? So then you can take that photo, that driver's license or Wisconsin ID, take it with you. You'll need it, and take something that proves your address. So something like a utility bill, We Energies,
Mhm.
Spectrum, AT&T bill, right? That has your new address. A phone bill. Take your bank statement. Take your signed lease contract. Those are some of the things that you can, more common things that you can take to prove your address. So take your Wisconsin driver's license or ID with the old address, and then take your utility bill, your residential lease, your bank statement to prove with your current address to prove your address now. So go ahead and you can register. You have until 8 p.m. to go ahead and register and vote at your polling place today.
How about let's help people understand what their rights are and their responsibilities today. So let's tell people, what they can't do at a polling place, like take pictures, etc., and that people can't be, you know, trying to lobby it there. Let's share a little bit about
Yeah.
rights.
So you go into your polling place, you go in to vote, not to hang around. Anyone is more than welcome to be observers, right? You check in with the poll worker there, the supervisor, the chief inspector. You check in, you say, hey, I want to be an observer, I want to sit down here. And then that chief inspector will give you more information on what to do in that case. But if you're just going out, go vote, come out. There's no electioneering, which is anything that could influence the vote. So any yard signs, anyone handing out flyers for candidates or for political parties, that is not acceptable within 100 feet of the voting entrance. Okay, so don't do that. Go in, go vote, and then come right out. If you have any trouble at your voting site, call us 414-286 3491. We have English, Spanish staff that can help you out, English and Spanish. And then we also have a language assistance for more than 150 languages. So if you know someone who needs help, but their primary language is not English, call us at 414-286-3491 to help you out.
Jonathan, what are some of the common things people get obstructed in voting on? Like, what are some of the complaints we've heard so that they understand the realm of their rights?
I think one of them you mentioned it is that after redistricting in last year, some of the polling place changed. So if you already voted in November, that's the same polling place. But if you haven't voted in the last year or so, and this is the first time you're going to vote, then go ahead and go to myvote.wi.gov and check your polling place before heading out your home, so that you can make sure that you're going to the correct polling site. So that's very a common thing. Sometimes too, people say, "Oh, I don't have my photo ID. I lost it. I just went to the DMV and I have my paper, my receipt that they give me because I'm waiting for the actual car to come in the mail." Right? You can use that receipt as your photo ID. Okay, so go ahead and take that to your polling place, and you can use that as your photo ID. Um, what else?
If
You
they're
can
in line by
if,
8?
if you're in line by 8 p.m., your right is to vote. So chief inspectors, the poll workers at your sites, they know that whoever's in line by 8 p.m. is gets to vote. Okay. At 8 p.m., they usually put a poll worker if there's a line, so that no one else gets in line after 8 p.m. Okay, so if you're there at 7:59 at 8 and you are trying to register, they're going to help you out and you're going to be able to vote. Right. And again, if you have any issues, contact us, call us, because we want to know about it and address it immediately.
And let's walk people through that process in case they've not voted before. So they're going to get to a location. It'll have signs, voting here. You usually follow the arrows. You go to the place. And then what happens is take it from there.
Yep.
Jonathan,
So
talk
then,
about the people who are gonna be there, like the different players, and then what they need to do next.
yeah. So we have poll workers, and they're called election inspectors, and then we have a supervisor who's called a chief inspector. So you're usually going to meet an election inspector who's a greeter or who's at the door welcoming you into the polling site. And then they're going to determine, okay, are you a registered voter or do you need to register today? So we have two different tables for those processes. So one is where you are already registered, and we have the poll books, right? So you go to your ward, and then they're gonna look you up. You have to say, "Hey, my name is Jonathan Zuniga." They look up you in the poll book, and then they're gonna ask you for their address, and you say your address, right? And then you're gonna go ahead and sign the poll book. Okay. So then after you sign, the election inspectors will give you a ballot and a voter number for you. Okay. So then that's your cue to go and get that ballot and voter number and go to the voting booth, make your selections, and then put that ballot inside the voting machine. Okay. And then once you get the voter number, you can comment on Socks right here page and tell us your voter number, right, Tammy?
Yeah, thank you.
And then
Follow us and use the hashtag the South Side votes.
there you go. So make sure you let everyone know that today is voting day. Then, but let's say that you get there and then you need to register. So then they're gonna take you to another table where they're gonna ask you a couple questions. They're just gonna make sure you're at the correct polling place because you have to register at your designated polling place, and they're gonna make sure that you have photo ID and proof of residence, which we just talked about a moment ago. So then once they verify that you have that, then they're going to ask you to complete a application, a voter registration application. We have them in Spanish and English, and then you complete that. The election inspector will review it, make sure you completed everything and that it's legibly, and then they're going to go ahead and sign the bottom part of that application. Once they do that, then they're going to give you a ballot, the voter number, and then you're going to go ahead and make your selection and vote.
Great. Lots of information, folks, to help you vote. We encourage you to do that. We thank you, Jonathan, again for being with us and helping all our community understand what's happening. And we'll be sharing this interview at 12 with folks who weren't with us right now and at 6. Have a great day.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, everyone.
All right, folks, we're going to move on. I want to remind you, if you didn't do the post-pandemic survey,